Okay, welcome back to my channel, How to Grow Your Party Rental Company. Um, Last year, at the start of the year, I really wanted to do a video about kind of a year in review, what sales were, what new items I added, that kind of thing, and I never got around to it because I didn't have a place at my business where I really could do a video. I only had like a small YouTube studio that I kind of built in a closet at my house, and there never was a time where my wife and kids weren't making a whole lot of noise, or I wasn't just exhausted to where I could do it. This year, since I moved to a bigger warehouse and I've actually got an office of sorts, um, I can do this kind of thing. There's nobody else here but me right now. It's the first Sunday after New Year's, um, 2026. 2025 was a really good year for me, so I'm going to do this as kind of a year in review video. But I wanted to do a couple of other things first. So um, I want to talk to you a little bit about padded garden resin chairs. You may or may not know what those are, and they get called different things. They get called resin chairs, padded chairs, garden style chairs, whatever. They're very popular for weddings. You can see this right here is what they look like. Um, the problem that I have, and they rent really well, and they rent for more. The problem that I've had with them though is that people that want to pick them up, um, they come back, they've transported them in the back of their pickup, and they get scratched up and they get dirt ground into them, that kind of thing. So I'm going to go to a policy of if you want to pick those up, your minimum quantity for those is going to be 20. You have to take them on the rolling cart and you have to have them in an enclosed trailer. Other than that, you're going to pay to have them delivered. Why? Because I'm tired of my chairs getting torn up and spending hours trying to get them clean and good looking again. And there are some tricks that you can do. You can sand some of the scuff marks and that kind of thing, but it's just so much extra work. And you don't want to mess with that. So, as soon as you can, I would highly advise going to a policy of uh, you can't pick those up unless you have the right vehicle and you can keep them nice. So I'm done. All right. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is this is the first week of January. Started out in December, so the last few days of December, and then New Year's Day, and um, excuse me, I got a little bit of a allergy thing going on. We've had some dust storms in this area, so I'm going to be sniffing a little bit, may have to blow my nose, and I'm going to be drinking some to keep my voice going. Sorry. I know it's not very professional, but if you want the information that I'm giving you, you'll have to deal with it, okay? So, um, the other thing that, anyway, there was the week with New Year's in the middle of it. Um, let's see, how do I get rid of this thing? There it is. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about what the events were for this week. And this is something you need to know when you get into the party rental business. Depending on where you live, there will be a slow season. I'm in Lubbock, Texas, which is at the bottom of the Texas Panhandle, and we're having an unusually warm winter here. So I've done a little better this year than I'd have in some of the previous winters. If your business is up in Michigan or Chicago or somewhere, your slow season is going to be considerably longer than mine. Here, my slow season is kind of the middle of December through the end of February, roughly. Depends on just how the weather is. So you need to plan for that. And so what I mean is this. So this is my schedule for the week. You're going to see normally I average a lot more than 3 rentals. This year, or this time of year, I should say, it's a little thin. So you have to kind of build up during the busy season, build up the bank account, and use that to get you through the slow season, or just take into account maybe the first few years, this is not going to be your full-time job. It's going to be the weekend side gig. It's going to take a while to build the business up. So you can see I had 3 events this week, and 2 of them weren't really events. So let's slide over here. So this was an event. People rented things for their New Year's Eve party. They rented an 8-player card table. I've got a couple of really nice casino style tables, and 9 black folding chairs. So if we go into that order, we can see the total for the order was $106.72. And I can tell by this color code here that I put on it that it is an order that I took over the phone, and it is not something that they booked online. The second order, this one here, is a whopping $10.82. Why? Because it was somebody that rented one 6-foot rectangular folding table. And if you're wondering why I'm looking off to the side, it's because I've got these things on a second monitor. I got the main monitor in front of me, and I got this up here on the second monitor, so I'm not trying to look away from the camera. That's just how it works. I don't know how to do it any better. I can have the camera on one monitor. I guess I can move it, but I can't have it on both. Maybe so I'm not looking as far away now when I look at the second monitor. Anyway, and then here's the third one. I delivered this one this morning. Today is Sunday, January 24th. And they booked this one online. I'm picking it up. I delivered at 10:30 this morning. I'm picking it up at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Now this says the balance here. That's the remaining of what they owe at the end of the event or when I deliver. The actual total for the order was $153.37. So total between all 3 events is about $260 worth of business this week. Very, very thin. So if you're planning on doing big business every week in this business, you need to know there are going to be some weeks where the money's just not coming in. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I don't make a living at this. I do, but this is the end of my 4th year doing this. It is my first year doing it full time, so it's not something I just started overnight, and it's something you're going to have to build up, but it is something you can build up, as you'll see when I start going through my sales for the year. But again, I wanted to show you what a slow week looks like. You're not always going to do the big bucks. Now, I have had weeks where I did big bucks. I have had weeks months where I did a lot of money. All right, so let's get rid of that. This is my sales chart for 3 years. This is kind of the end of my second year, 2013, and this is where I got this website. Was halfway through November is where my website launched, and things really began to take off for my company that year. But you can see, it's down here. This is my last year, you can see things really started to take off for me. The first 2 years in the rental business, I did about $10,000 worth of sales. That's not profit, that's sales before expenses. Last year, this blue line, I did about 72,000 in sales before expenses. So I didn't make 72,000 and it was still a part-time gig at that point. I was working a lot of hours between both jobs trying to balance. This year is the year that about 4 or 5 months into the year is when I was able to go full time, and I did ended up with the year just under 125,000. It was like 124, 600 and whatever dollars. And you can see I had some really big months. May is my busiest month every spring. I did just short of $15,000 there, $14,851. And then when it got really hot, we got past graduation season. It's Texas, it gets hot. I still had some big months, but not nearly as much. June, 9,300, July, just under 11,000. August, again, just under 11,000. September, just under 11,000. October was a huge month for me. A lot of weddings. Almost $19,000 in 1 month. So you can see there is some good money to be made here. But I had to save a lot of this money to get through these next months. January and February going to be kind of slim. We're not going to be eating a whole lot of steak and lobster around my house, but we will get through. But you can see, though, these are there's some definite growth in this company. I put the time in, I bought the inventory, I worked my butt off. It's a fun business to be in, but it is not easy. It is a lot of work. Don't kid yourself. I am still 90% of the labor in this company. Some of it is my kids, some of it is part-time people that I hire on an as-needed basis, temps. Not every year. All right. So where did this money come from? You can see here I've got revenue for my company, what categories did. So I'm not sure what that is. Something random, $22.59. Electrical, that's going to be like extension cords that rendered out. Not a whole lot. Honestly, business events, I don't know what it is. It's probably something extra that I created to charge somebody something. They wanted me to do something. Um, Table category is a little misleading because I've created an extra category that all my tables are in multiple categories. They're in tables and chairs, they're in round tables, they're in rectangles, that kind of thing. Dishware. This is plates, glasses, silverware. I just got into those kind of towards the end of the year. I haven't really pushed it a lot yet because I'm still learning about it, getting it set up. I rented some restaurant, $70 worth of glasses, whatever. Trash management. That's $100 that I made this year. All I was doing was renting trash cans, $5 a pop. Not a whole lot. Chairs, again, that's kind of misleading. You'll see when we get to the actual tables and chairs category. Portable bars. That is a combination of, I've got two fold-up portable bars as well as wine barrels that I have tops you can put on and make bars. Generators. $381. I have got four generators of different sizes. One of them has gone out pretty consistently, made some decent money. I've got two, a next size up from that. One of those went out a few times, made okay money. The other one never went out at all. And I've got a really big generator that hasn't gone out at all in 2 years now. I'm probably going to be selling that because it's just money sitting there and it's taking up space. I could do something else. Inflatable items. This was, I've got two inflatable items. I've got an inflatable basketball game, which went out a little bit, but not a lot, and an inflatable like giant snow globe dome that people can get in and take pictures, and it circulates air so you can have, fake flower petals or money or balloons, whatever. Um, that dome cost me just under $600 to buy, and at the end of the year, it's been kind of ruined. It's pretty much not rentable at this point. And I think the basketball game went out once. This category is probably going to go away. It's just not worth my time. Um, Casino games. I spent $300 on um, two. One is a generic card table, the one that went out this week, and the other one is a same type of table, but it's got Texas Hold'em markings on it. Really nice casino style tables. Um, Spent $300, made $470. I think I could make more if I had more tables. One of the two that I have is going to have to be replaced, so that's going to cost me another, 150, $175 to replace it, or have the padding that goes around it that's got either leather or vinyl. The vinyl's gotten a couple of holes in it, so I'm going to have to fix that one or replace it. I'm kind of on the fence on that. Um, I may try to give that one more year, push it a little bit more, buy some more tables, and see if I can make some more money off of that. I don't know. Um, Wedding arches, just under $700. 16 rentals. I've got about 8 different wedding arches. $700 isn't anything to sneeze at. I'm probably going to keep that, but that was really like 3 different arches did all of that. So in order to free up space in the warehouse, all of the other arches that didn't rent, gone. I'm going to be getting rid of them. Setup services. This is me either setting up tables and chairs for people, or one event was at a venue that had tables and chairs, but they rented tablecloths and spandex chair covers. One of it was time to set up all the chairs at a wedding. It's like a 200-seat wedding. Almost $900 seems like some good money, unless you figure in that those events were a whole lot of work and took a lot of time, and I had to pay because we had to get them done within a certain amount of time, and I had to work them into my delivery schedule for other things on a busy weekend. So I had to pay for other help. And excuse me, like I said, I'm sorry, my allergies are going nuts. At least I didn't blow my nose on camera. Anyway, I really didn't make too much money. That out of that, that's probably 100, maybe $150 is profit. I'm not going to offer setup service this coming year. I'm going to take that off the website. We don't set up. We deliver the things, or you can pick them up. We rent things. We don't set up events. just, I'm not a big enough company to where I can make money doing that. If I was a bigger company, I might be able to do that. Okay, photo backgrounds. That's basically a frame with a sequin background curtain that goes on it. A lot of that was people pick them up at the warehouse, the frame and the curtain, they bring them back, no big deal. If I deliver, that is one thing I do set up. It takes 2 minutes. Well, no, who am I kidding? It takes 5 minutes to set it up, and the customers really appreciate that I set it up. Um, you know, made a little over $1,000, easy money. We're keeping that. Heating and cooling. Sorry, that is swamp coolers and patio heaters. I've got 4 patio heaters and 2 swamp coolers. I rent the swamp coolers out. When I'm not renting them out, I use them to keep my warehouse cool while I'm washing tables and chairs. I have them anyway. Might as well rent them out when I don't need them. Okay. Catering equipment. That is mostly, that is not the dishes, glasses, silverware that I'm trying to get going. That is mostly, I've got some food warmers, basically small portable electric steam tables. And that's pretty much, those things. I clean the pans in between. Easy money. A lot of those were pickups. Decor. Now we're starting to get a little more money here, $1,500 or $1,400. That's mostly, I've got these portable wood photo background walls. I've also got, these wine barrels that are part of the portable bars. I got tops that go on them. A rustic chalkboard. Just some other rustic odds and ends. Not really decor like flowers or bows or ribbons, anything like that. Did okay. We're going to keep that going. Concession equipment. $1,800. This is popcorn machines, cotton candy machines, and snow cone machines for the most part. It is $1,800. It is some money that's worth having, but it is kind of a pain, particularly keeping the cotton candy machines clean, and I keep having to, buy things and do maintenance and that kind of thing. That's probably only about $1,000 worth of profit. I'm going to give it another year, but I'm really fine tuning, what I do. And the cotton candy machine and snow cone and popcorn machines, they may end up going bye bye. Games. There's some good money here. This is, almost $2,400. That is cornhole, ladder ball, Jenga, I'll get a bunch of other ones too. Can jam, ring toss, that kind of thing. 90% of that is cornhole, Giant Connect 4, ladder ball, whatever. Cornhole and Giant Connect 4 are the big ones. I'm probably going to buy a couple of more units of each of those, and some of the games that aren't renting as well and aren't pulling their share and are just taking up space in the warehouse, they're gone. I'm really learning, and particularly this has been my first full year of having this website that keeps all these statistics for me, which, by the way, I use Bouncy Castle Network. It generates all this stuff for me. It does bookings online. It's my website. Does everything. I don't have bounce houses. I don't have water slides, okay? It's just the best website that I could afford that does everything for me. It does even things that I uh, don't do or don't use yet. Like if you have multiple drivers, it plans your delivery routes, that kind of thing. I'm not using those features yet, um, but it'll allow me to grow because it has those things. So anyway, and they are not sponsoring this. I don't get a dime from them. I'm not sure they know who I am, other than that I have an account. Um, anyway, this website is allowing me to fine tune the business and learn, okay, what rented, what didn't, what generates the most dollars for the amount of headache that it causes me and the amount of space that it takes up in my warehouse. All right. Yeah. All right. Throne chairs, $3,220. Um, Throne chairs are very expensive. You have to do a lot of maintenance on them, keeping them touched up, um, getting the vinyl repaired if somebody, you know, the vinyl gets a cut in it or a hole in it, or God knows why, but somebody had a cat at one of their events, and I had a bunch of cat claw marks on one of my chairs. I had to get them fixed. And yeah, you're charging these expenses to the customers, but or it's covered by damage waiver. Just kind of depends. Anyway, they're a pain in the ass, but that's some good money. I think I had about $600 worth of expenses with them this year. I'd already bought all the chairs the year before, and I've done a lot of rentals with them. With the local university, Texas Tech has used them for recruiting for their women's basketball team. They bring the girl in, put her in the throne with the coach, and take a bunch of pictures and that kind of thing. And so I've got some good advertising because of that. I got to use some of those pictures on my social media. Um, they're a pain in the ass. They take up a lot of space in the warehouse, but they're a moneymaker. $3,200 is nothing to sneeze at. Audio and video. This is predominantly, well, I have a lot of things in the audio and video category. I have several different sound systems, anything from big enough that you could put a small band on a stage and have a concert. The mixing board, the speakers, the monitors, that kind of thing. Smaller sound systems. I had a karaoke machine and digital projectors and a screen that get rented from anything from a funeral. They're showing pictures of the person that died. Wedding, they're showing pictures of the two in the couple before they met, and then them meeting and dating, and all that kind of stuff. Up to business presentations. So there's been some good money in there. I am going to refine that this year. I have a really big sound system that has not gone at all. The big one where you do a band. I'm going to sell that off, reinvest in some smaller sound systems that go out more. I've got this one sound system, 2 speakers, built-in amplifier and mixer. It Bluetooths to the customer's phone. They make a bigger, not bigger as in physically bigger, but bigger as in bigger speakers inside the speaker stands and louder sound. Instead of being 300 or 400 watts, it's 500 or 600 watts, that kind of thing. You can do a bigger event with it anyway. So I'm going to sell off the equipment that's not renting and reinvest it in things that I think will go out more, be easier to handle, and help me out. I have a 55-inch TV on a stand that I was thinking, people would rent for business seminars, that kind of thing. It went out like 3 times, generated $300 worth of sales, and the TV, which cost $250, got a big scratch on it. So basically, I didn't make any money on that TV at all, and it only went out 3 times. It's taken up space. It is not worth the space in my warehouse and the time and effort to fool with it. Gonna sell the stand, the rolling cart that I had the TV on, and get rid of the TV and not do that anymore. Um, Linens. I hate linens. $6,300. Okay. The reason I got into linens is because and here's the thing, linens generated more than $6,300 worth of sales. And let me tell you why. People will call up. They want to rent the tables, they want to rent the chairs, and then they say, and we want tablecloths to go with it. And if you don't have the tablecloths, they will go to your competitor that they can get everything from one rental company. That's why I do linens. They're a pain in the butt. I'm ironing them by hand. I'm doing laundry. But I could have actually done a whole lot more in linens than 6,300. I turned a lot of work away from linens because I couldn't process them fast enough, because I stopped doing the white ones for a while because they had stains on them, because I was having to take them home and iron them at home and do them in my laundry at home. This year, moving into the new warehouse, I actually have 2 washers and a dryer to do the linens here. I can get to them faster, maybe try to do something with the stains, start doing the white ones again. I've got dark colors though, so that they'll not show stains as easily. I've got black, I've got navy blue, I've got a burgundy, maroon color, that kind of thing. Oh, red. Got to have red and black because Texas Tech is one of several universities here, but it's the big one. Um, you might have heard of them. They actually made the college football playoffs this year, and then they got smacked by Oregon. Don't want to talk about it. Anyway, I'm hoping to do more in linens this year because I have the laundry facilities now that I'm doing them here at the warehouse. I'm also going to try to, if I can afford it, buy one of the roller steam roller irons that you can put the tablecloths through so you're not ironing them by hand. I turned away a lot of business. I think I could have done a lot more. Tents and awnings. Now this includes the rental of the tents and the setup. It also includes when we on a parking lot when we can't use stakes, where we do a weighted setup. That's some big money, almost 30 grand in tents. Okay. I did give some repeat really big customers that do tents over and over a little bit of a discount, so we actually made about 28.5. Okay, there's some good money there. I've got 2 20 by 20 high peak tents and 2 20 by 40 high peak tents, and I got the second, or 20 by 30, sorry, not 20 by 40. I got the second 20 by 30 high peak tent almost the end of the summer, so I expect to do more than that next year. I also am probably going to buy a 30 by 30 West Coast frame tent, so that should increase my tent revenue next year. Here's my number one category, folks, and this is why I tell you, if you're starting out a party rental company, start with tables and chairs. If you don't know which ones, you can see some of my previous videos. Email me. Contact me on Facebook. I am more than willing to share what I've learned. I think talking to other people about the party rental business is fun, and I think I make my business better, and I think through what I'm doing, and I'm growing my own business by talking to other people about it. So, excuse me. If you want to learn how to run and grow and build a party rental company, contact me. I think you can even get my I've got my email on my Facebook page, so I think you can contact me that way, or just comment on one of the posts. Say, hey, I'd like to talk to you, um, and I'd be happy to. Tables and chairs. This is where your money is at. If you are not renting tables and chairs and you seriously want to grow a party rental business, my business is aimed at adults. I do weddings, quinceaneras, business openings, parking lot sales, employee appreciation events, business grand openings, that kind of thing. It's all aimed at adults. I do have the cotton candy, snow cone, popcorn machines that are aimed at kids, but that's not where the money is. So if you're a business that is aimed at kids, great. I'm not telling you to not be in that business. You're doing water slides, you're doing bounce houses, you're doing portable mini golf, foam cannons, whatever. Great. You need to be in tables and chairs. You don't have to get into all the other stuff that I am in, but you need to be in tables and chairs, okay? If you are a tent company, you need to be in tables and chairs so that you got something to put underneath the tent and you can book the entire event rather than they get the tent from you and the tables and chairs, or maybe they don't rent the tent from you because you don't have tables and chairs. Look at that. $60,000 worth of tables and chair rentals. Just tables and chairs. You need to be in tables and chairs. All right. So, I did a total of 860 bookings last year. An average of 7.8 bookings per week. Now, that doesn't mean, you have to understand, that's the average. And that really is, most weeks I did 7, 8 bookings. I had a few weeks where I had 0 bookings, okay? I also had my busiest week of the year during high school graduation or college graduation week here. We did 22 bookings that week, and I had some help, and we were slammed. People booked things an average of basically 22 days out. I had somebody book a wedding, the chairs for their wedding, 6 months out. I've had people book things for a wedding almost a year out. I get a lot of last minute people wanting to just, pick up a table, or 4 or 5 tables for a yard sale, or, hey, we're having a barbecue this weekend, we need some tables and chairs. That kind of thing is all right, but sometimes, honestly, if all my tables and chairs have been out the weekend before and I don't have any help that week and it's all I can do to get my tables and chairs ready for the next weekend, I have turned away a lot of last minute bookings that I could have had. I just told the people, I'm sorry, I don't have the time, I can't get them ready. I'm hoping as I grow and I actually get an employee that I can keep year round, I'll turn a lot of that stuff away. But most of these bookings were actually probably 2 to 3 months out when you take the average, because some people book them same day, that kind of thing. Average booking value is $211. I want that to go up. That's taken down considerably by, like you saw, I had an order this week that was only $10, and I took it because, hey, why not? It's $10. The person's just going to come by and pick up the table. I didn't deliver, that kind of thing. My biggest order this year was in the neighborhood of $3,000 for one event. So it's going to vary widely. My goal is to push that up. Some of how I'm going to do that is, I'm going to try to get away. I can't afford to quite yet, but eventually maybe I get completely away from the concession stuff, which I only got into when it was a weekend warrior thing, and I was aimed more at kids and kids' birthday parties because that was the bookings that I could get because I couldn't get weddings. I didn't have the inventory to get the bigger events. You only have 20 chairs. You're not going to book a 200-seat wedding. Now that I have somewhere between 12 and 1,300 chairs, some of the smaller kids' backyard birthday parties, honestly, if they want to come by and pick up the stuff, fine. But by and large, delivering that stuff, it's an irritation. It takes away from the bigger events that I can do. I got a lot more business through my website because when I got it, but only 48% of my bookings are made through the website. 51, or well, I guess almost 49%. 51% of the bookings are manually added, which basically means they called me and I added in over the phone. Sometimes that's people that are on the website, they're looking at things, but they just can't figure out how to. They're technologically challenged people. Okay? They don't get the internet. They want to talk to somebody. They want you to walk them through. They want you to book it for them. Okay, fine, whatever. Some of it is also my website is set up to where if you're within 5 days of your event, the website will not let you book it. So a lot of those, might be somebody is having an event 4 or 5 days from then on the weekend. They call and I have to manually put an order in. I do that on purpose because I don't want anybody booking a 200-seat wedding with a tent and dishes and all that kind of stuff 3 days before. I don't have time to plan for that. I don't have time to get help to put a tent up. I don't have time to make sure I have that many chairs washed, that kind of thing. I may not be able to put it on my delivery schedule because I've already got, the week where, we did 22 bookings. So I make anybody that's within 5 days of the booking, they have to call to verify that I have time, and I have to manually put the order in. So this is a little bit kind of skewed. Probably actually, realistically, it's more like 60 to 70% of my bookings would be through the website if I didn't have that 5-day lockout on there. But by and large, it's probably, it's probably 60-40. 60% that are automatically booked and 40% that I manually input. But that means that 60% is bookings. It's money coming in that I didn't even have to talk to the customer to get the booking. They saw my Google reviews and they booked. So, hey. So, you can see, we talked about the categories. This is more individual items now. Photo background frames, $250, 6 rentals, easy money. White tablecloths, I rented 18 and then I stopped renting them because I couldn't. Just the laundry thing was a hassle, and the white stuff was way more of a problem. And this is the big round ones that are hard to get the wrinkles out of them and everything. This is the casino style games, 6 rentals. Yeah, I may have to. I'm still debating on whether or not those are going to continue. Chair setup fee, again, it's not worth it. We're going to get rid of setting up the tables and the chairs. Presentation screen, only 6 rentals, but it was $300. I've got 1 screen. It sits in the corner. It's easy, no work. We're keeping it. White spandex covers for bar height cocktail tables, 39 rentals, $350, or actually, $330. We're still going to keep those though because the spandex covers. If I don't have the white ones, Somebody might go to my competitor that does have the white ones if they want those and the cocktail tables. They're easy to do though. I don't have to iron them. I throw them in the washer. I put bleach in with them. I use a good quality detergent. Then I throw them in the dryer and then I store them in a tub. No big deal. um, Same thing. Royal blue spandex covers. 42. Cornhole. 13. $350. I've already got the cornhole sets. I'm going to keep them. This projector that I have for my audio video, it's a digital projector, goes with the screen. You rent it separately though. It went out 6 times. $397 worth of rentals. The projector sits there on the shelf. It doesn't take up a lot of room. Good money. Predator generator. That's my smallest generator. Goes out the most. $419. Definitely keeping it. Giant Jenga. $425 worth of rentals over the year. Basically, I hand it to the customer. I buy 1 or 2 new sets a year at about $40. Good money, easy money. $457 for the inflatable photo bubble dome that I bought, that I paid $600 for, and it didn't make it to the end of the year before it was so damaged that it can't rent out again. Yeah, it's gone. I've talked to you about wedding arches. I have to keep a few of them. This is my number one. It's a square wedding arch. Went out 8 times, $441. I had to buy a new one this year because the old one got damaged too bad. And I occasionally have to buy a little more, some more screws to put in it, or a little bit of stain, touch it up, that kind of thing. It's about $100 worth a year of maintenance or buying new one, but it generated $450. Okay. Premium snow cone machine, $450 worth of rentals, but that includes paper cones and syrup and that kind of thing. Actually, probably total profit made $250. I don't know that it's worth it. White spandex chair covers. Again, it's one of those things you kind of have to have. Made $380 off of them. You throw them in the washer with bleach. You don't iron them. You throw them back in a tub. They don't generate a lot of income, but they generate some, and I get other jobs because I have them. If somebody's already renting the chairs and they want the covers, I could lose the chair rental, the table rental, that kind of thing. Red Velvet Throne went out only 4 times, and it already's gone out once this year. $500. It does take up a lot of space. I don't know. That one I may get rid of. I may only keep the most profitable throne chairs. I just don't know. Lighting for my tents. I have Strings of Bistro lighting. $485. This was the first year I offered that. I spent about $300 on lights. Again, it's one of those things you have so that you can get the tent rental. I won't have to buy the lights this year, so this year it'll be $500 or more, probably more in profit. Yeah, and they're in a tote. They don't take up any space. Great. Sidewalls for the high peak tents. These are solid sidewalls. I also have ones with windows in them. $500. But again, people may, if they want the sidewalls and you don't have them, they rent the tent from somebody else. $500. That's probably what I spent on sidewalls total for tents this year as far as buying new ones. So that's decent money. We're going to keep that. commercial food warmers, 15 rentals. All I have to do is rent the pans each time. I've got 3 of them, $492. I think it's going to be more next year. We're keeping those. Um, I don't, most of my tent setups are actually weighted. I don't get to do a whole lot of tent or staked ones, but that's what we charge just for the setup of 20 by 30 tents, $523. Okay, I've got 2 8-foot rustic farm tables, 5 rentals this year, $564. I don't know if I'm going to continue to keep those. They're big, they're heavy, they're a pain in the ass. I've had them for about a year now, and I want to say I've got $1,400 into them, so I haven't even got my money back yet. I don't know. After hours delivery or pickup. I charge for $526 just for going late to pick stuff up or delivering it early. Okay. Cotton candy machine, $564. They're a pain in the ass to clean. That's 10 rentals. I don't know that it's worth it. I don't know it's worth my time. Pop-up tents. They're a pain in the ass. I'm going to get rid of them, It's just not worth it. For the number of tents that I have, for what they cost, for the maintenance that I have to do on them, for 8 rentals, $480, it's just not worth my time. Giant Connect 4. I don't set them up. I deliver them. I buy one set a year for about $80. This year I may or may not have to buy a second set. Just depends on. I don't think I will, or another set. I've got 2 of them right now. $650, easy money. Why would I not? Photo backgrounds. The rustic wood photo background. It generated $750 with 3 rentals, but they're big, they're heavy, they're hard to move around. They only went out 3 times. I don't know that it's worth it. Black rectangle tablecloth, $640. Going to keep those. Professional karaoke machine. I bought it for $600. It went out 700 times, generated $783, and the touchscreen has gone bad on it, and I can't rent it again, and I can't get it fixed. I would have to buy another one. Is it worth buying one every year and dealing with the hassle of when it doesn't work and the customer calls you and they don't know what to deal with it? Probably not. Karaoke machine's gone this year. Deluxe throne chair with crown went out 6 times. I've got 2 of them. Almost $800 worth of sales. Probably keep, but I don't know. Wine barrels went out 22 times. I bought them at the start of this year. I think I paid a total of about $700 for the 6 barrels that I have, 22 rentals, almost $1,000 worth of revenue, and I don't have to buy new ones next year, and they get me jobs because I have them. Gonna stay. 20 by 20 tents, just set up, staked setups. Yeah, worth having. 4-foot round tables. I have 7 of them. We rented them 70 times. That means each table went out 10 times. A little over $1,000. I probably will add a few more, get to where I have 10, see if I can increase that category. Patio heaters. I've got 4. They only went out 12 times. $1,100 worth of business basically, but you have to remember each time I have to fill the propane tanks, so somewhere between $10 and $20 out of that $80 rental is expense. Still worth doing though, I think. Okay. All right, so this is my round tablecloth for my big tables. $1,000. I hate them, but I got to do it. Black spandex cover for cocktail tables. Again, you throw them in the washer, you wash them, you throw them in the dryer. You don't have to iron them. Easy money. ProRec Party 12 sound system. That means it has 12-inch speakers in each of the big speakers that you put on the stands. Went out 14 times, $1,700 worth. That is my number one renter in the audio-visual category. My customers love it. It's easy to set up. It has their Bluetooth, so I'm probably going to buy another sound system from the same company, but it's going to be the 15 instead of the 12, so I can do a little bit bigger events with it and charge a little bit more. White throne chair, $1,900, 13 rents. Definitely worth keeping. It's not like the red velvet one. 8-foot rectangular tables. I started out with, I don't know, 5 of them, and I kept adding more throughout the year, and I now have, I think, 13 or 14. 137 rents, $2,500. People want the 8-foot rectangles. I don't keep a whole lot of on hand. I'll probably add 2 or 3 more, and they're probably going to do about $3,000 worth of rentals. Worth keeping, gotta have, don't really like them. They're big, they're heavy. Hard surface weighted tent setup for my 20 by 30 tents. Tents are a money maker, folks. All right, bar height cocktail tables. I have 22 or 23 of these. 309 rentals. I think I had them at $10 a piece. I've gone up to, I want to say 11 or 12. I can't remember. Almost, almost 3,800 in rentals. One of my better items. The padded resin chairs that I showed you at the start of the thing. I think I started the year with 100. I worked my up to 150. I want to be at 100 or 200 by the end of the year. 1,389 rentals. $6,400. Good money. But again, I can't be renting them out to where they're going to get torn up. So no more pickups unless you are doing it the right way. 20 by 20 tent, hard surface setup, weighted setup. Almost $6,000. $5,700. Tents make money. 20 by 30 high peak tent. $7,600. All right. My 5-foot round folding tables. I think I have about 42 of them. I started the year with maybe 25. I kept buying more, so I had a lot of expense, and I'll have to buy 5 or 10 more each year. You'll get 1 or 2 that get damaged and you have to throw away, and I'll increase the inventory by 2 or 3 because there's I have 42. Somebody says they want 45. You buy a couple more. Over $8,000, 8,200. 6-foot rectangular folding table. This is my number one table. $790. These are the Lifetime plastic folding tables, and they're the ones that fold in half so that people that pick them up can put them in their car. 790 rentals, just short of $9,000 over here. That is some serious dollars. I highly recommend you having them. 20 by 20 high peak frame tent. $8,600 in revenue. Okay?
Get into tents. You have to learn how to do them. You have to learn how to make sure they're up properly, they're safe. You have to get some equipment. You have to buy tent jacks. Um, you're going to need a ladder. Um, you're going to need some way to do weights. You're going to have to find a way to drive stakes. You're going to need a stake puller. You can't just pull these stakes out of the ground with your hands. But if you can get into tents, there's some serious money. My basic white folding chair, 2,958 rentals. I charge more for them because they're a pain in the ass to keep clean, and I charge more because I want people not to rent them for backyard birthday parties where they get all muddy and kids are jumping around on them, that kind of thing. So they earn a little more per chair, $10,200. Here is the big one. This is my cheapest chair, folks. 7,175 rentals. Look at this. $18,632.92 worth of rental income, folks. If you are starting a rental company, start with the folding white chairs. Look at my other videos. Make sure you get the right ones. Don't just go out and buy any chair. Do not buy the lifetime chairs that you can get at Costco and Sam's. Do not buy the black metal folding chairs that everybody had in their high school gym. That was the chair that I started out with. Mistake. Do not buy them. But start out with the white folding chairs because if you want to get into weddings, that's what people want. And you might, if you get to where you have 50 of them, you can pick up small backyard weddings where they only need 40 or 50 chairs. So start with the white ones, build up to where you have about 100, 150, maybe 200, and then start getting black ones and increase the price on the white ones and make the black one your everyday chair. Is what I would recommend starting your company. So now, that's it basically. That's how my year went. I moved into a new, bigger warehouse in the middle of the year. I went from just under 2,000 square feet up to 2,600 square feet, and but it has 18-foot ceilings. So I'm going to be working on over the next year, getting rid of my 10-foot pallet racks and getting 14-foot pallet racks. I'm going to try to get a walk-behind forklift. I don't have room for a full-size forklift, but I could get a walk-behind one. The new warehouse allowed me to put in the commercial dishwasher and the washers and the dryer for my tablecloths, and to have a place set up full time to iron my tablecloths. So I made a lot of progress this year, and I think next year I'm going to do even better. You start out small and you build, and then once you reach a point where when you have a certain amount of equipment, the company explodes if you're doing things right. Excuse me, gotta blow my nose again so you don't see dripping. It's not an easy process. Your first couple of years, you're not going to make the kind of money that I'm making. And don't get me wrong, I'm not getting rich. 125,000 is not my profit. That is income total before expenses, including paying the rent on the warehouse and the utilities and buying new equipment and everything. But it is enough that I made a living doing it this year. And next year, I hope to make even more money. You have to learn. You have to grow. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to try some items that don't rent. You're going to do things like the karaoke machine for me. Until I can find a better model that the touchscreen doesn't go out, it's not worth it. I didn't make any money. The inflatable dome, it's not worth it. I didn't make enough money to justify the expense of the thing, and the time to deliver it and stake it to the ground and teach the customers how to do it and that kind of thing. Just not worth it. So, you know, you're going to make some mistakes, but I also have made some really good choices. I got into tents 2 years ago, and I spent the time and the money to actually fly somewhere and go to a tent school. Yes, there are tent schools. I, keep investing in my black chairs. I'm probably going to buy over the course of the next year another 100 black chairs. I've got about 400 right now because they bring in the money. I got a chance to pick up some gold Chiavari chairs. If you don't know what a Chiavari chair is, don't worry about it right now. It is not something that getting started in the business you want to get. I wasn't planning on buying these right now because they take a lot of room in your warehouse. But I got a chance to get some used ones for a ridiculously low amount. A little less than $7 a piece, and they normally, when you buy them brand new, they cost $50. I am going to have to do some work on them. I am going to have to tighten up some screws. I am going to have to do some paint work because, the rental company that I bought them from, they were rental chairs. They've got scratches and dings and that kind of thing. We're going to see what kind of revenue they generate. We're going to see how big of a pain in the ass they are. They should generate a lot of money, but I'm going to have to put the time and work. I'm going to have to promote them. I'm going to have to paint them, and we'll see. I'm hoping they generate a lot of money. You learn, you grow. This is not a business that you just go from 0 to 60 overnight. It is a business you can learn and grow. Feel free to contact me. Also, don't just watch my videos. Like I've said, watch the tent guy, watch the rental guy, watch the rental bros, watch the rental journey. There's other channels besides me. The one thing I think is going to be different about my channel is I'm a mid-tier business. The really, really big party rental companies that are doing $2 million worth of business, it's easy to grow one of those because you have the capital to add new items. You can buy the bigger tents. You can go after the bigger events that pay 20, 30 grand. There's a lot of information about smaller companies teaching you how to start from nothing and grow a company, which my channel will do that for you because that's what I did. But what you're going to get if you're a mid-sized company like me, somebody that's got their company, it's up and running, but you're trying to figure out where to go next, two things. One, you can follow me and learn from my mistakes, learn what works for me, learn what doesn't work for me. You can learn from me, but also feel free to comment. Leave me suggestions if you don't see me talking about something that you're doing that you think I can grow with. Great. And I'm going to be learning. I'm going to be growing. I want my company to continue to grow. 125 is not big enough that I can have employees yet. It's big enough that I can live on it, but not where I can live comfortably. So I want to continue to grow. There's all kinds of ways that I can grow my company and make more money. I can, there's bigger and more tents. There's dance floors, but those are very expensive and hard to get into. I want to play around with maybe a little bit of basic lighting to go with my sound systems. The flashing DJ style lights for dances. So, yeah, come on the journey with me. Like, subscribe to the channel. If you have a party rental company and you are not subscribed to me, you're missing out, because I'm not a genius, but listening to anybody else who is in the industry, who is talking about what they're doing, who is talking about how they're growing their business, will help you grow your business. So I will see you next time. I'm going to try to do these videos more often now that I have an office where I can record them. And come on the journey with me. Grow your party rental company.